gonna be alright. All night, alright. Dance with you. Why do you gotta? All night, alright. Dance with slow. Give it up, gonna be alright. All night, alright. Dance with you. Why do you gotta? All night, alright. So slow. Give it up, gonna be alright. Give it up, gonna be alright. Give it up, gonna be alright. All night, alright. Dance with you. Why do you gotta? All night, alright. So slow. Give it up, gonna be alright. All night, alright. Dance with you. Why do you gotta? All night, alright. So slow. Give it up, gonna be alright. Give it up, gonna be alright. Give it up, gonna be alright. All night, alright. Dance with you. Why do you gotta? All night, alright. Dance with slow. Give it up, gonna be alright. All night, alright. Dance with you. Why do you gotta? All night, alright. So slow. Give it up, gonna be alright.
Now, personally, in my opinion, this is something I take a little bit of exception to, you see, because a Friday night 6 p.m. game, I understand it can't always be the greatest clash of all time. I get that. That's all right. That's fine. That will happen. However, the Dragons I know that, obviously they're going to win the spoon. And that is what it is. Thank you, Lorenzo. They're going to win the spoon. But and we didn't know that coming into the season when we made the draw. We didn't know that. We weren't aware of that. However, it's not the biggest surprise. Chico, unfortunately, Lorenzo's the only one that's allowed to refollow. Or was it Dean who gifted you one? I might let you get away with that. But Lorenzo's allowed to do that. No one else can refollow. That's Lorenzo's special rule. Anyway, it was reasonably foreseeable that the Dragons were going to be an egregiously stinky team. So why did they set up this? I don't know. And really, look, I understand not every Friday game can be a banger. And really, after this, we do have a bit of a banger. Storm versus Bulldogs. I'm very excited about this game. Frankly, it is pretty much the menu today is, let's get through this. Let's watch it. Let's hopefully forget about it immediately afterwards. And then we'll get into the actual good game. Because, wow. Jack and Hilda, unfortunately, this game is not free to wear. You have to pay for a KO or Foxtel. Why did you kill Cowboys? It wasn't me personally. I didn't do anything, actually. However, for those that were sleeping under a rock, like Patrick Carrigan, who didn't watch the game yesterday, yeah, Roosters won 82-12. There comes a stage where your team scores so many points that you actually can't process that. Like, if we had scored 68... I would be in a very similar mental headspace to 82. It was mind-boggling. It truly boggled the mind. Against a side where, there was a world where the Roosters lost yesterday. Against the Cowboys, who were in good form, up in Townsville. We lost to them earlier this year under less trying circumstances. It was crazy. And yet we managed to get it done. Anyway, we started the stream a little bit early. So how about we leisurely get into the teams, because there have been some changes, ladies and gentlemen, to our sides as they line up today. So, we start off with Moses Uli coming into the centers. I was having this conversation earlier today with a mate, talking about how, obviously, fullback next year for the Dragons, you think will be Scott Drinkwater. So, Clint Gutherson, what happens to Clint Gutherson? A lot of people think that he's going to move into the centers, but you look at Holmes and Sully. Are they not going to get a run? You could move Holmes to the wing. I'm probably thinking that that's what they might do, because Tyrell Sloan's leaving. But then, your wings are Setutu and Setutu and Valentine Holmes. But then Phil Sami's coming. So are you dropping Setutu and having it Holmes and Sami on the wing? Might be the best combination. I don't know. Does Gutho get a run next year? You could have maybe picked him in the halves, but they've just signed that man there, Cody Nikorima. Playing at 5'8" for the Dolphins today, next to, back from injury in, frankly, record time, Isaiah Katoa, ahead of schedule. But, as I was saying correctly in the pre-match show, there's so much on the line here for the Dolphins this season that you wouldn't rush him back into a game like this if you didn't have to. They would certainly back themselves to get the win with or without him. So he must be ready to go. He comes in and captains the side. Opposing him in the halves, coming back, I don't know the numbers from this, but I feel like it's his first time in a while, is Lycan King Tonga starting next to Carl Flanagan. So Dan Atkinson drops to the interchange bench. No changes in the forwards, but you see there, Daniel Atkinson and Brad Schneider, named 5'8" and halfback for the two respective sides, shifting to the interchange. Emery Gula is then the only other player to come in who wasn't initially named. So those are our sides. Sully's an out-and-out center. Sully is an out-and-out center, 100%. Valentine Holmes can play on the wing, though. So it's that talk of how do you move these pieces around now, let alone the halves. The halves you'd think will be Metcalf and Nikorima. So do you have... I'll go back and show that. Do you have a Holmes to the wing to replace two, Sami there to replace Sloan, and then Gutherson and Sully in the centers? I think that's very harsh on Setutu, who, in my opinion, has had a pretty amazing season. In a side, well, I say amazing, a pretty good season for a guy who is making his debut this year, in a side who have been, quite frankly, utterly diabolical. So I think that, he deserves a spot as they move forward next year. St George Dragons fan says Gutherson was not good in the centers. He should play bench, but is worth 900k. Dargers 2027 will be Drinky fullback, Sami and Holmes on the wing, Atko and Sully in the centers. Okay, interesting. Nikorima 6, Metcalf 7. So no Setu 2. Interesting. Yeah, look, there's no way of fitting all these guys in, and the thing is, we always get caught up in this, what's the best 17? Throughout the season, realistically, those wingers are going to spend a lot of time out. Combined, they'll probably have Setutu come in for even a majority of games. So, that's sort of, yeah, that's the way that one can work. Looking at the poll for today, I wrote it, and then I didn't actually start it. So you guys will get to vote from now. Really good winger, but maybe could jag a spot at the Bears. Setutu. Well, there's no talk of that, certainly. No talk of that at the moment. Roosters need to stop winning games, bro. It's getting scary. Look, up until last night, our wins weren't that impressive, but I was rationalizing it by saying a side of a really good team is winning when you're not playing at your best. And that's evidently what it has been. We've got some tests coming up, though. And the tests coming up are really where we're going to see what the Roosters are made of. Yes, Cowboys in Townsville yesterday was a real test. They played particularly badly. But it was, fundamentally passed. Bulldogs next week. If they win later tonight, it's going to be a massive game up in Sydney. Then you got Panthers up next. Really, it's those two games. Back end of the season, we play Dolphins as a big one. Rabbitohs hopefully won't be playing for their season at that point. Tigers you think would win, but we have lost that matchup in the past. So, yeah. Looking at the poll, it is, we've only got 6 votes in so far, so I'll probably read out the results of that later, but currently very heavily weighted towards the Dolphins. Dolphins being a side who, really, we do just think back to their 66-point loss to the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks earlier on in this season is what has defined the back end of the year for them. They managed to get a win against Cowboys, but then had a bye last week. So they're still in a kind of headspace where they need to be proving themselves towards the back end of the year. They've got Dragons today. Beyond that, though, Broncos, Sea Eagles, Eels, Roosters, Titans. Some very, very winnable games there, but a couple of challenges against Roosters, Sea Eagles, and Broncos. So we'll see how they go in this one in a game that they certainly do expect to win. Fans of clubs like the Bulldogs, the Raiders, the Sea Eagles will certainly be going for St George Illawarra today. Thoughts on Brayley to the Tigers? Good signing, experienced signing. He's become a journeyman, obviously. Bounced around a few clubs. Cronulla, Newcastle, Raiders, and now Tigers. Not confirmed yet. But, with Api Gorosa very much coming towards the end of his career, you lost Talon De Silva, which I don't think was part of the plan. You've had to rely on a couple of other guys to come in at 9 who really haven't been that reputable. So not a bad signing whatsoever. Not a bad signing at all. Lorenzo says, I redeemed background color red and head dent check. Really? It didn't pop up. Oh, 11 minutes ago. That's weird. Okay. I don't know why that didn't pop up. Anyway, head dent check is in full force. In full force. And we'll change the background color to red, which is completely appropriate. Absolutely appropriate. In light of the two sides that are playing. George says Dolphins are going to win. I'm inclined to agree. Although it would make a much more, as a neutral now, it would make a more interesting race for the top 8 if Dragons were to win. Although I do probably like the Dolphins more as a club. Who are you going for in the Storm game? It would have been Storm, but with the way that it's played out, I'm going to be going to Roosters versus Bulldogs next week. And if Dogs get a win against Melbourne tonight, there is going to be 30 to 40,000 people at Allianz Stadium next week, and I want to see that. So I am going for Bulldogs in that game. C Phantom says, so when are the Roosters being dragged before the Hague after the war crimes committed against my team? Weep more, Queenslander. Weep more. That's all I can say. That is all I can say. I mean, when you're Patrick Carrigan and you slept through the game yesterday and then woke up to that scoreline, you must have thought it was a typo. You must have thought it was a typo. Right? You had to have. You had to have. Yeah, sorry to the Storm fans in the chat say I'm going for the Dogs. Honestly, I don't care that deeply. It's purely for selfish reasons. And in a way, if Storm win, Dogs have less to play for. It's probably better for my Roosters, but I just think it's going to be great at a real, cinema moment to see two traditional Sydney rivals at the SFS packing it out on a Friday night. We're about to get underway here. I will let you know when they kick off on my screen so that you can sync up with me. There it is. Dolphins are the team to get us underway by the boot, and it's Carl Flanagan taking the ball first with a run-up from Loco Pacific Tonga. I want to know your thoughts. There was some news today. I don't remember what game it was, but there's thoughts of the NRL trialing the rule where the team that concedes the try receives the kickoff. Yes. Moving forward, they're going to trial that rule. I don't like it at all, personally. I just don't think that the game needs to be changed in that way. I think that the current balance is fine. I don't really care that we get, roll-ons from teams. I think if they've earned that, they've earned that. And it's such a fundamental change. Yes, we've had fundamental changes in the past, but people look at the, unlimited tackle rule as an example that was obviously very good. But I just don't see the need for this one. And I also don't like the fact that, let's say you've got a side coming back towards the end of the game who are down by 3 tries with 10 minutes to go, and they've scored 2. They need to then kick off and have the other team have possession and try and get a strip or whatever. I think it kind of kills the end of game comeback. That's the big thing for me. I don't get it. So George Dragon says, yeah, do it for a random game or on game day or even in the lower grades. Personally, I think the game is good as it is. Well, to be honest, the fact that they're trialing it makes me think that they are sincerely going to do it. I don't know what their record is, but typically by the time they're trialing it at the NRL level, it seems like they've kind of made their decision. So anyway, I don't know. Anyway, on the last here, played it. Jeremy Marshall King gets it to find Nikorima. Puts it high up in the air, the future Dragon. Underneath this one, in fact, it's just going to be Bostock, the Illawarra Junior, playing for the Dolphins, takes the tackle. MFS says, out of curiosity, do you commentate the game as they run or no? Not really. If that's what you're looking for, I would recommend going and finding a different streamer. I do it sometimes, but typically I go off on tangents, and it's more a hangout session than a commentary session. Yeah, so they're showing Grace Hayden on the screen, new sideline reporter. Interesting, because they used to only do that for Tiana Penitani. I don't know why they do it for all sideline commentators. I want to see Maddie Russell up on my screen. What was funny, though, so I don't know if many of you guys are across Tiffany Salmon. I don't want to throw shade, right? But this is a Kiwi-based reporter who works for Fox League, sideline reporter, who was sacked a few years ago and maintains that she was sacked for being too attractive. Which, I can't believe you can build a brand around that, but you can. And she's taken personal offense to this new sideline reporter, which is just mind-blowing to me. Just clasping for relevance. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyway. Yeah. The Leaguie's chair says, on one's birthday, is it your birthday? To see the Chooks have one of the best games in club history and the Fins to play the next day, I couldn't want it any other way. Hi, Leaguie. Well, happy birthday to you. I'm glad you had a good one. Did Leaguie Swear says, Sam Walker became the 4th Rooster to score 30-plus points in a game. The other 3 are Dave Brown, and Dave Brown. I've seen those stats. Lots of statistics gone around over the last 24 hours. So, yeah. Hell of a hill to die on, the Tiffany Salmon thing, yeah. But it's amazing. You look at the for some reason, right? The algorithm of Instagram thinks, well, it looks at my age and will just only want to show me attractive women. That's all it is. And on the Leaguie account, because I only engage with rugby league things, it will just show me like every female reporter, and I don't engage. I don't care. I care about the news, but it will consistently show me Tiffany Salmon. And you look at the comments, it's just 40 to 60-year-old men. That's all it is. With all due respect to her. She knows that. She's tapping into it. Fair play. But, like, you know. Anyway. I don't know. I like sideline reporters for their analysis and commentary. I don't really care about why Tiffany Salmon was sacked. And I don't think that it is the way it was presented. But anyway. Hobie Farworth is going to play the ball here. This is on the second. The Dolphins hitting it up. Another question for you guys. So, I was thinking earlier today with the news of Nikorima having gone to the Dragons. I was discussing this with a friend. What does the half situation look like at the Dolphins next year? Beautiful short ball there, Nikorima. And he gets it off the flick pass. In fact, he's through here. He's got support either side. Infield to find the hammer. And that's going to be all she wrote on that one. Hammer so Tabawai Fido. Goodbye. Dolphins are in for their first of the game, and frankly, it was pretty bloody easy. That they are, and they've got the job done there beautifully. It was Nicarima short ball to his back rower, Conley Lemuelu, but look at the flick pass out the back. That is stunning. No look. Had the hammer one side, had Herbie the other, and you find the flying hammer Sotap Waifido there. Katoa and Williams in the house. I forgot about Williams. Right. Yes, that will probably be it then. That makes sense. I was like, are they going to put Trey Fuller at 6? I honestly wouldn't mind that too much. He's probably too small to defend in the front line, but I could see it kind of working if you've got Katoa at 7. But yeah, that makes sense. Every team so far this round that has scored first has won by 70 points. So I'm not saying Finns will win by 70, but I'm also not saying Finns will win by 70. You know what? I cannot argue with that logic whatsoever. Noah of ball knowledge. That's what you are. Bit easy there. Look, it took a wonderful offload from Lemuelu. That one easily could have gone wrong. The execution was brilliant, but probably still a bit easy. Converted there by Jermaine Isako. He's one of the best in the business, and they lead by 6 early on here. What are your thoughts of a random bloke thinking about doing a dance for the Samoa versus France game? What does that mean? Are you thinking of doing something for that? And if you mean like a social media dance, any little thing that helps get the Rugby League World Cup gets some traction is a positive, so.
Cat in Illawarra just redeemed, changed the background color. Blau.
I was just about to change it back to green. I had my app open on my phone and all, bro. Anyway, that's alright. Below it is. Cho says that ball never touched the ground. I honestly didn't look at the grounding. I just assumed he got it. Did anyone else see that? I'm actually going to go back and look at that now. They confirmed the try. So I'm not currently watching the live feed. I've just rewound a little bit. Let's see. This could be an absolutely epic prank, and I've just absolutely derailed the entire stream and might as well give up. Let's see. Hammer. That absolutely touched the ground. What are you talking about? Anyway, the clock says 32:47. Kick from Katoa, high up in the air. Underneath it, Bostock's in and around it. He's not going to contest it though, and it's Tyrell Slode, the future Castleford Tiger, who takes that one. Are you a good kicker? I can actually kick pretty decently. In the we were doing training for the Sportchat TV charity match earlier this year, and we were literally doing a kicking challenge to see who was going to do the goal kicking on the day. Penalty there, Dragons. So they quick tap. Cook is away, but is going to be called back. Yeah, I made the final 3. And actually, so it was just kicking from like further away, harder and harder spots, and whoever was the last man standing was going to be the kicker. And unfortunately, I went out second last round, hitting the post. It was rough, but anyway. Pandemically says, am I allowed to dislike Jack Bostock? No, you're not. And if you do, the Thought Police are going to come and arrest you at your home, so I wouldn't recommend it, certainly. If you insist on doing it, you know, nice knowing you, buddy. See you later. No dramas. All right, so Holmes taps it. On to find Lucky King Tonga, and now a run from Loco Junior Pacifici Tonga. King Tonga and Pacifici Tonga. We live in great times of rugby league names, bro. We really do. Who scored the try? The Hammer. The Hammer. King Tonga deep into the line, gets it to Gutherson. Thought he might have dropped the ball there, but it was his white wrist tape rather than the ball itself. So that's going to be the 4th. They're up to 40 meters out here. King Tonga is going to be the man in at dummy half, as Cook is the one who took the run. Flanagan gets it to find Gutherson at second receiver. On from Sully, and it's being knocked on by Setu too. Nicarima picks it up, gets a pass away. Is the call knock on from someone Cobo though, so it's going to be double knock on. Dolphins ball. Dolphins ball. I'm glad you had a wonderful birthday, Leaguie's chat. You saw an absolutely historical game. I watched the highlights of it earlier today, and I'm like, that will absolutely go down as one of my favorite Roosters wins in my lifetime. And I'm so glad that there's like a record now of me having watched it and just absolutely crashing out after every single try. Just like, you know, head in hands, screaming, voice cracking, all that stuff. All that good stuff. So, yeah. Leaguie, can you confirm if your dad said about Tiffany Salmon, imagine if her name was Jamin? Did he? It sounds like something he might say, but I don't know. I don't know if he would have. Not sure. Canberra Raider, the Canberra Raider in the chat. You'll have to see it as Nicarima knocks on, unfortunately, for the Finns, so it'll be Dragons ball. Canberra Raider says, I'm not looking forward to playing Penrith tomorrow after last night's game. What, you think that Penrith will be like, hey, Bruce, is there anything you can do I can do better? It probably would have sent a bit of a rocket up their ass, yeah. Maybe made them a little bit less complacent. But Raiders have been good. Raiders have been good. Yes, against, you know, relatively easy opposition. And from memory, I'm just going to have a look at this myself, but from memory, your draw to end the year is not good. Yeah, it's Penrith, Knights, Sharks, Broncos, Cowboys. Those Broncos and Cowboys games look a bit more winnable now. But really, tomorrow's a huge game. You need another miracle at Mudgee, pretty much. You need another miracle at Mudgee. 6-4 there for the Dragons. Would be nice to see them hit back next and potentially make a bit of a game of this contest. Lipboy, Hotboy, Loco Pacific Tonga, and Drethro Renakama, the holy trinity of NRL names. I've actually... So... You know, there was... I don't know what I would call this thing. There's definitely a term for it. As Egan with a good run there. I'm going to finish this thought after this set because they're only 10 meters out here. Cook is going to be in a dummy half here on the third. Had Loco as an option, doesn't find him. Instead goes to find Rauchman. Gutherson gets it to Holmes and had Sloan outside but couldn't unfortunately get there quick enough. So it's going to be the fourth. They're set to the left-hand side there. Cook gets it to find Leaguie King Tonga, who's going to hit it up himself. So the 5/8 tackle there. On the fifth, you think the ball will find Kyle Flanagan here. It instead finds Loco at first receiver. Flanagan out the back to find Gutherson. Setu 2 for the corner. He's going to get there. They're just stripping for numbers. Running the ball on the last, so the Dragons do hit back.
We are the St George boys. We've had a game today.
That's nice. That's nice. I was not expecting that on the last one. When Loco got it at first receiver on the last tackle, I was like, oh, no. That's not what you want. But got it to Flanagan, cut deep into the line, out the back, and Gutherson was sort of lined up in that center role there. It was a bit of a 2-on-1. Cobbo was isolated, and they gave it to Setu too, who just was easily able to run around them. The Cows equalized as well. That they did, and they did in that corner. So, doesn't teach you too much, but anyway. Sup, I'm not sure, because you asked this earlier, I'm not sure if you're wondering what the score is. It's there, the scoreboard. But anyway. Yes, so, my thought. I used to do this as a kid, as a thought experiment. And this is something we used to talk about a bit back in, like, the OG League streaming days. Where we would try and, like, chain rugby league names together. So, Latrell Mitchell Moses Mbai is an example of that. I came up with one the other day, which surely someone's come up with before, so I'm not claiming it's original, but it was super long. It was Wonga, Blake, Laurie, Daly, Cherry Evans. Wonga, Blake, Laurie, Daly, Cherry Evans. Unfortunately, I can't think of a player whose name started with Evan. Even then, it would be a stretch. But, yeah, Wonga, Blake, Laurie, Daly, Cherry Evans is, I think, pretty impressive, so... Holmes to convert here. It's from his bad side, not where you want to be from as a right-footed kicker, and it does spray out to the right-hand side. So 6 points for it remains. Exam season's almost here again. Are you ready? It is certainly not for me. We are in week 1 of my semester. Exam season is a distant thought. Tasty Prod predicts 60 points to 28. That is very high scoring. We saw it last night. I'm not sure we'll see it again, but... Good start. Good start to the game. Ah, yes, you can add Cisa Wonga to it. Brilliant, Tiger. Cisa Wonga, Blake, Laurie, Daly, Cherry Evans. That's... hell yes. Hell yes. Any NRL player whose surname was Caesar. Unfortunately, I don't think so. I forgot about Caesar on it, of course. Love it. Lorenzo says, how are your classes going? I have not engaged in any of them so far, week 1. Oh, we got a strip there. Herbie's got it. Reason why is because I've been running events and making a video, which will be out hopefully Monday. Kat says I'm behind. I have 2 months to catch up. Okay, yeah, best of luck. You shouldn't be watching this stream. You should be studying. No, I've been in that position, certainly. It's all right. It's all right. All right. So, ball gets to find Knowles. On for Katoa. Maybe numbers out there, but Herbie can't beat his opposite man. That's what it was going to take. Good defense from the Tongan centre, Moses Suli. Nikarima now. At an option to go short, instead goes back deep to Katoa and Molo. We'll hit it up. This will be the last now for the Fiends. They lead by 2. They get it to Katoa. Oh, we've got a slip from Suli. That's created the overlap, and it's shelling peas. We should check the forward of Selma Kobo. I think he was just about in, but there's going to be a question mark around it. It's a try for now. Unfortunately, Moses Suli, after coming up with a really good tackle earlier on in that defensive set, did slip over, and they absolutely, like sharks in the water, pounced on that blood. Dolphins hit it back again. It was a strip from Suli. Well, Suli was the man carrying the ball. It was a strip on Suli, and you just look at that slip. Immediately, they got the ball out there. We want to look at this right foot of someone Kobo. I think it was just about okay, but it was tight. It was very tight. It was not a comfortable put down for him. It just plants there. Plants there. I think that's... Oh... I tell you what, I think the ball might have got down with his arm being in the air there, but it's tight. It's very tight. Are they going to be able to say that that last frame where his elbow was in the air is good enough? Could be one where there's not conclusive evidence to overturn, and that's certainly the way I would go with this one. The foot is okay. They might say simultaneous, and I can't help but think back to the Ed Corsi example earlier on this season playing against Manly, but in my opinion, looking at this in isolation, given that it went up as a try, there is not conclusive evidence to say that the ball didn't get down. We're going to have a review here. Who's this referee? It's not written on NRL.com. I don't know who this ref is. It's Grant Atkins in the bunker, though. Okay. I think that if that had been given a try, you would have had a lot of people blowing up about that being given a try. I would have given it a try. I think by the rules that we have, there is not conclusive evidence to overturn that. But anyway, really, Dolphins are going to win this game. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No try it is. His debut, new ref. So third ref to debut this year then. That feels high. I think it was like notably more than we currently have. Are we sure it's a new ref? Because if it's a new ref, I will certainly be using that in my debate with Hectic Fred next week on Wednesday when we're talking about refereeing. Because the whole get new refs argument, if we've debuted 3 refs this season, that's brilliant. G'day Huxley, how you going? Kat, I'll watch the new Spider-Man movie next week. Alright, so played there. It's going to be Cook on to find Gutherson. Marching upfield there because it was, of course, touch and goal.
Lorenzo Theraborn just redeemed, changed the background color. Purple.
I can't imagine why the Storm fan wants me to do that. Was that tackle in the air on Selwyn Cobbo? It is going to be ruled as such. I think that might have been a late call there from the touchy. Next Wednesday, right? Yes, next Wednesday. I'll go up to Sydney in the morning. Hang around the studios for a bit, prepare. I mean, I'll do a lot of preparation before that, if time allows. But yeah, and then we'll have it. I've been thinking a lot about it though. Certainly mentally preparing, and this video that I'm making that will be out on Monday is pretty much my case. I'm stating my case. I'm putting it out there. I think the debate, and certainly my strategy, is going to be sit there and just take it. Just be on the defensive the whole time. Let Fred come forward with his talking points, which I'm sure will have good ones. I have a massive respect for him, and I respect him as a debate opponent. But I trust my perspective enough, the strength of it, that I think whatever he puts forward to me, I can repel. And hopefully enough of my little, defensive things will put him a bit on the back foot and we can have it go like that. But it's why I think I need to make this video to have my positive case, and then I will defend it during the debate. So yeah, that's my idea. I've never done a debate though. I don't like, a lot of people seem to think that because I wear a suit and talk well, that I am this experienced debater. I've never done a formal debate. In fact, I tried it in high school and really didn't like it. So, boss up with a good catch. That might have been off the Dragons there. They might win if they challenge that, but I don't think it's worth it. Danny says, I'm going to the Chelsea friendly tomorrow. Is that at Sydney Olympic Park? That sounds cool. Will it be live? No, it will not be live, which is good. It's good. I think that it will allow the audience to watch the whole thing and then come to a conclusion at the end, rather than having that live participation. And also, I think allows us to have a bit more control over how it looks in the end. So, yeah. Hello, Toa. How you going? Hope you're well. Got to keep your balance in the debate. I will. And frankly, to be honest, a lot of the stuff that I have come out and said, it's not directed at people like Hectic Fred. Fred, I don't think is great when it comes to the coverage. I don't agree with a lot of the things that he says, but he's not the worst example. If I had been debating someone who I think is the worst example of it, I might have got a bit more heated, and it might have been more personal because I am attacking their content. But I am going to be able to say in this debate, this isn't aimed at you specifically, although you were defending this position. And I think that that's going to make it a lot more, polite. So, yeah. George, it was no try because they ruled Sawa Cobo's elbow to be in touch. And we've got a whistle there of a forward pass. So, Dolphins, who are working their way out of there and then they're on the third, they're going to give away an error there. Dragons will have the ball in good attacking field position. And if they score, they will take the lead.
Well, that's why you get the big bucks, baby. That's why you get the big bucks.
Upper Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia Herzegovina emoji. Bosnia Herzegovina emoji. Bosnia Herzegovina emoji. Bosnia Herzegovina emoji. Bosnia Herzegovina emoji.
We've had yellow square emoji. Bosnia and Herzegovina emojis. Crazy. Oh, that's funny. That is very, very, very funny. Dean is correct. New meme just dropped. That's a new meme right there. I love that. What do you think of the new kickoff rule? I spoke about it earlier, Daniel, so I'll just say very briefly, but I think it's too fundamental a change. I don't think there's a need for it. I don't like it, and I don't like how it will potentially kill off late comebacks at the end of games. I think that's absolute cinema, so I don't like seeing that. Penalty there. Dragons get it. Quick tap from Cook. And Gutherson is appealing for it to be 10 in the bin. Cook nearly got there. Gotho is really, appealing that case. The referee, I wish I knew what his name is adamant that it was not inside 10. Levio. Thank you for following on Twitch. So Ratchman, the man with the ball. Dragons, this is a very good attacking set for them. They're only on the second. Cook will find Kyle Flanagan out the back. King Tonga goes underneath to find Hamish Stewart. Did I hear set restart? Did someone say set restart? The tackle counter doesn't seem to think so. Jake Duke certainly did. So this is the fourth now. Loka Pacific Tonga plays it. Cook is going to go himself. He gets over, but he won't get down. Cook has been running it tonight. Absolutely running it. I'm not sure he's the man to do that. Barging over close to the line, but sure. Wait, so this dude's name is Kieran Irons? That's an awesome name. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I missed that earlier, Watson. Gutherson to find Holmes on for Sloan. Bang. Bang. Tyrell Sloan has put the Dragons in the lead.
We are the St George boys. We've had a game today.
Lorenzo says, what's the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina? This could be miles off. This could be miles off. But the word that is coming to my rugby league mind is Sarajevo. I've been to Bosnia, have not been to Bosnia's capital. But I think it's Sarajevo. It's Kosovo? Is that not? Really? Sarajevo sounds like something. It does. Ah, yes, the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina is Sarajevo. Knower of ball. Ball knowledge. 8 points to 6. Kick to come. Dragons. They are here. And, you know, there's been a lot of praise that's gone towards the Dolphins. Not so much recently, but in the weeks that led up to the loss to the Sharks. A lot of praise. A lot of talk about contenders and all that stuff. Here they are, right? Relatively late in the season, in round 22, playing up against the Spooners, who really don't have much to play for. And there is so much left in this game. They're down by 2 points. But after 20 minutes, the Dragons are there with them. When you're looking at, this might sound harsh, when you're looking at a side as, okay, these are premiership contenders. You know, as Holmes converts that one beautifully, you have to hold them to the standard of the Panthers. You have to hold them to the standard of the Roosters. And if the Roosters are playing down here in Wollongong and we're 10 points to 6 down after 20 minutes, I think you'd have people saying pretenders. What's the capital of Azerbaijan? Baku? I'm going to say, because that's where the Formula 1 race is. Hainsey says, where's your cowboy hat? Mate, I'm a city slicker. I'm from the Sutherland Shire, and I live literally in the most just, like, hippie, like, part of the country in Canberra. I am the last person on earth who would own a cowboy hat. But I respect the reference nonetheless, Hainsey. And you rocked it last night. I don't know if you saw my comment, but Hainsey did a live stream, right? Wearing a cowboy hat afterwards. And I said, the only thing tonight that looked better than the Roosters' performance was the way Hainsey was rocking that cowboy hat. So it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right. 10 points to 6. It is. I'm very much like, going into this game, I was like, yeah, it'd be nice to see the Dragons win. I'm there with them now. I'm riding this. I'm riding this. Nothing can ruin my weekend now. And not after that performance. No footy result can change the way I feel about this weekend of rugby league football. But, like, you know, I think it would be nice. I'm not going to say no. Could be a beautiful thing. They put it up on the last, finding someone Cobbo in very, very fluoro boots. You live in Bob Catter's least favorite city? Well, he does have to live here, so, you know. Yeah, no. All right, so it's in the hands of Bostock. Again, I like to mention that he's an Illawarra junior because it's one where the Dragons unfortunately let one slip through the cracks, and my God, he's a pretty good one to have let slip through. Run there from Morgan Knowles. Jacob says, hey, League, are you happy with your Roosters destroying the Cowboys in that win yesterday? Incredibly happy. Incredibly happy. I will, if I find time throughout the weekend, piece together a bit of a highlights package from that. I think it will be good. Sohn with a take there, and he's going to be tackled and forced backwards a fair bit. So they're about 5 meters out of the try line here, the Dragons. Gutherson on to find Sesutu. That's a decent run to get another 5 meters out there. We saw yesterday, I think it was yesterday, Cowboys had a set where they pinned the Roosters on their line. After 2 tackles, we were going nowhere. Radley tries a hero's run, knocks it on, and they recover the ball immediately. So even in a game like that, you can have sides very much attacking with their defense, and the Dragons have done well to get out of that one there. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, I do not know the capital of the Central African Republic or Brunei. Is Brunei not like a city-state? I don't know. Pandemically, Den Haag is maybe, in fact, would be my favorite city in the world. Comfortably would be my favorite city in the world. All right, played there by Asako. On to find Jack Bostock, Indy Bostock's brother. Gets away from a few and gets it offload away. That's beautiful. Cobbo straight through. One winger In fact, it's not one winger to the other, but it's a centre to his opposite winger. Gutherson can't stop him, and they won't take that one off Selwyn Throbbo. The Cobb Loaf. That's all Jack Bostock, though. Crabby across field and just bang. The most wonderful short ball offload you could imagine, and this is going to look beautiful on the replays. Dolphins strike again. Look at this. It's just one-off running from Bostock. Takes on the forward, still crabs across field. Bang! Straight through a hole. By the time he'd gone across field there, it was only the centre and the winger who were remaining outside him. Cobbo just had a big old gap through the middle. Big old gap through the middle. Dean says, what's the capital of Vatican City? Paris? Rome? Perchance? Perchance? Let's see how that pass worked. Oh, it was beautiful. That was beautiful. The timing had to execute in a perfect split second there, and that's exactly what happened. Huxley says, do you reckon my Cows can still make the 8? Yes, I would. Unbelievably, after yesterday, would absolutely still tip Cowboys to make the 8. The draw that Cowboys have for the back end of the season is just brilliant. Titans, Eels, by Tigers, Raiders. You couldn't ask for anything better, really. To be honest, I expect that they'll beat Titans, Eels, and then obviously the bye, then Tigers. 4 more wins. That'll get them not only in the 8, but quite comfortably in the 8. I don't think it'll be enough to get the top 4. It's not impossible, though. It's very unlikely. They need Warriors and Sharks to go on a bit of a fall. Asako misses that kick, so 10 points all it remains. Kieran Irons, first NRL Premiership matches referee and not touch judge. He was in charge of the Jets' 50-point game last Sunday when Barrel unalive Manly. I saw that. So that's something I'm going to note down. 3rd new debutant referee this season. That helps me. That absolutely helps me. We have debuted 3 refs. I think it's not Jack Cole. The dude who debuted in Magic Round. His name was Cole something. I remember having someone at Magic Round DM me and be like, hey, I don't know who this ref is. And I'm like, you probably would know, so can you tell me who it is? And I was just like, yeah, I don't know all the referees. But yeah, I managed to find out somehow. He didn't debut at Magic Round. He debuted a couple of weeks before that, but he did referee at Magic Round. Kieran Irons, most recent. Dean says, for some reason, I got sent to the next stream. Why? There is no reason why that should have happened. Unless I've accidentally ended the stream. Doesn't look like it. Anyway, Jeremy Marshall King with a run there. Up to the 30. So, 13 minutes left in this first half. This will be the last tackle. Plathers at a dummy half. Finds Isaiah Katoa. He'll put it up in the air. It's being chased through by a number of players. Hammer, primarily, but could take from Clint Gutherson. I love that none of you are giving me actual sincere answers. Jared Cole might have been correct. Jared Cole might have been correct for Lorenzo. But Cole Palmer, Cole Slaw, and Cole Sprice gouging. What? Cole Sprice gouging is even... Like, that's the best one. That's the best one. Absolutely the best one. All right. Run there from... Is that Halangahu? Is that Jacob Halangahu? I think that's Jacob Halangahu. It is Jacob Halangahu. I love Jacob Halangahu, and I can't explain why I love Jacob Halangahu, and I feel about 50% sure that his name is probably pronounced Halangahu, but I'm just going to say Halangahu for now. I mean, you cannot have a name like Halangahu and not become a generationally good player. It's like how you always knew Hamole Olokawatu was going to be a very, very good player. There's just no way Hamole Olokawatu wasn't going to be a baller.
Pandamelically just redeemed changed the background color. Dark blue and yellow for Bosnia-Herzegovina emoji. Bosnia-Herzegovina emoji. Bosnia-Herzegovina emoji. Bosnia-Herzegovina emoji.
We have love for both Bosnia and Herzegovina. You love to see it. Who are you tipping for the Mudgee Clash, Leaguie? Look, you can't not take Penrith, I think. But, I mean, being to the Raiders games these last few weeks, I do really like the way that they're going. And I think that if there's a game this week that you could see a big upset in, that's the one I'm looking at. Yeah, Storm on top, hello. Please don't spam. But I'm glad to see you. Ryan Couchman is claiming a strip here. We've got a whistle. Yeah, for Bostock holding onto it, and he's going to say challenge. He's going to say challenge. I don't know if you can challenge that because it's under the referee's discretion. Oh, no, okay, so they're actually challenging ruck speed. So the referee ruled. This is interesting. This is really interesting here. Technical ruling. The referee ruled it had been stripped. And then that Bostock, who didn't have possession, under the referee's assumption, had held on too long in the ruck. The penalty was for holding on too long in the ruck. They wanted to challenge the strip. But they can't because you can only challenge the ruling, and the ruling was on a thing that was subjective. That's eyes up footy from Kieran Irons there. A very eyes up footy. Who do you have for best player of all time? I can't really comment all time. I can comment on the best player I have seen, and that is Nathan Cleary. It is Nathan Cleary. All right. Run there from Sully. So, this is going to be the third here. They're marching upfield nicely. Good defensive read there, Kurt Donahue. He's done brilliantly there, and that's cost the Dragons about 10 meters there. That pass probably shouldn't have been thrown. All right. I love Pandemic League, just bringing it back to the Bostock lock-on, but obviously doing it in different capital letters and stuff, so I know you're joking. Gutho with a kick in behind. Sloan will sort of chase through. Isako's there for it, though, and will escape the in-goal comfortably. Rord held. Forced backwards, though, hard, and he's going to be tackled about a meter out from his try line here. It's going to be a run from that man, Jack Bostock. This is a really good performance so far from St George Illawarra. Hello, Magnetic. I'm doing very well. Good to see you. All right. Tiger says, I mean, Titans aren't easy beats. They lost to Parrot in Townsville earlier in the year, and they got smashed by Tigers and Raiders earlier in the year. Is this Cowboys? Yeah. Look, they're not easy beats, but when you're looking at a draw throughout the end of the season, unfortunately, that's a bad penalty for the Dragons who have given away. They're very pressure relieving. You would take those teams. I think that the Dolphins, sorry, the Fins. I have a habit of referring to the Titans as the Dolphins, and I don't know why. I always do it. I just said Dolphins and then said Fins after correcting it. I don't know why. I don't get it. But there have been games where the Titans have been playing, and I've called them the Dolphins, and I don't know where it comes from. I know that there was a bid back in the day, Gold Coast Dolphins. It can't be that, right? It can't be that. Anyway, lock in, focus. The Titans now, given that they're 13th, probably reflective of how well they've played. But you'd still rather take them than take, the average NRL team. Pretty much. Hughes is out. Oh, no, Lorenzo. Wait, Hughes is out? Have we got the toe of the shark coming back in? It can't be the toe of the shark. No, it's not. The toe's in at hooker. It's Hayden Watson at the shark. My God. Look, respectfully. Spine last season for the Storm. That ball's gone over the sideline from the Dolphins. Spine for the Storm last season. Pappenhausen, Munster, Hughes, Grant. Spine for the Storm in this game. Farlongo, the Shark, Hayden Watson, and Trent Tolau. It's a little bit, not what you want. Not what you want. Not at all what you want. That's amazing. Do the Roosters have an easy next 6 games? Certainly a decent one. I have a little squeeze, but I remember looking at it and thinking, I'm backing us certainly to be able to continue the push. Bulldogs next week will be a great test, given how much they have to play for. Gutherson does get the ball out there to find Holmes. He has a man outside him, takes the tackle. Thank you, WTF.
Bosnian is my Lieblingsfach. Bosnia-Herzegovina emoji. Bosnia-Herzegovina emoji. Bosnia-Herzegovina emoji. Bosnia-Herzegovina emoji. Bosnia-Herzegovina emoji.
I feel like, not that I would turn this off in this moment because it's really funny, but that there should be a thing in my text-to-speech that doesn't read out emojis. That seems like a pretty good feature. But yes, Bulldogs next week, then Panthers, Tigers, Dolphins, Rabbitohs. So kind of, depends what Dolphins and Rabbitohs sides are going to show up. But that Roosters-Panthers game, round 24, Thursday, 7:50. Ooh, boy, that's going to be gorgeous. I think we're going to lose it, but boy, that's going to be gorgeous. Lorenzo says permission to make an emergency bandwagon. No. Donahue straight through here. Straight through. He's got no support, though. And Gutherson, he actually can't get his man there. Donahue still going. Will be wrapped up, though, by Tyrell Sloan. Damn, that was not good from King Gutho. They should spread to the left-hand side. It's the last. There's a bit of space out there to be found. Katoa fires Nikarima 3-on-2. Herbie Farmer steps inside 1, steps inside 2, gets an offload away. Try. And it's Ray Stone, of all people. Who had Ray Stone as a try scorer in this game? He doesn't celebrate, nor would he. Stone cold Ray Stone. It's what you like to see. Dolphins take the lead. Who's ruled out? Did Leaguie swear? Who? Simi, as in like Simi Sasangi? I'm gonna say. I think that's the only Simi that is coming to mind. Yes, he is. Seb Chris has come in. Yes, he is. Nikarima versus his future club. Indeed. Indeed it is. What a week to have announced that. By the way, okay, so this is conspiracy, right, from myself. But as we know, I think a lot about rugby league media. Given that the change to the kickoff rule, which is being trialed, is to try and address the number of blowouts that we're seeing and try and make the games more even. Do you think it's a coincidence? Because I don't. That news of that being trialed happened to come out the rugby league day after we saw the highest points total in a game since 1935. I don't think that's a coinkydink, personally. I don't think that's a coinkydink. But anyway. Yeah, it's just... I feel like I wonder... the NRL might have announced it within the next couple of weeks anyway. But do you reckon they've pulled the early trigger on that one to try and make it be as favorable as possible? Because people are like, wow, that wasn't very nice to watch yesterday. You know? Mario says it won't fix the blowouts. I think it could make it more demoralizing. Well, if it becomes the rule, really, all we're going to do is adjust to that being the norm and then learn to live with it. So I don't think it will make it more or less demoralizing, but no, I don't think it will fix the blowouts. Personally. Only since 06 for total points. Sorry, I mean for one side. Points total for one side. Which is the point of the rule. It's to reduce that. Not necessarily total points in a game, but total points on one side. The blowouts. Alright, so, at 16-10, 4 minutes left in this first half. It's kind of important the Dragons don't concede another try and go in, 22-10 down. That's a very different prospect. Nikarima finds Herbie Farnworth scheming. Takes a hit up. To be fair, the best two teams are so much better than everyone else, and the bottom few teams are so much worse than everyone else. It's kind of inevitable. Yeah.
Blowouts will happen regardless of how the kickoff is done. Look at the NFL.
Well, thank you for the $5. Firstly, 1991 Petrohead. I don't know if you've donated in the past, so I want to say particularly thank you very much. I don't recognize the username. But you're right. They will. The thing is, though, and this is the case with any, solution to a problem, there's degrees to it, right? If it can help reduce blowouts, I can understand why they might want to do it. But it won't eradicate them. It won't fix them. There are fundamentally going to be teams that are imbalanced. Just like how you might have said that the introduction to the salary cap would reduce the blowout. And maybe, in fact, it definitely would have. If we still had no salary cap, we'd receive much, much bigger blowouts in games. So, yeah. But personally, I just don't think it's a worthwhile trade-off to have a reduction in blowouts to whatever extent it happens. In turn, we're sacrificing the real ability for a team to come back quickly at the end of a game. Yeah. So. All right, so 2 minutes left on the third here. Dolphins are attacking. Draw and pass there. Farnworth gets it on to find Selwyn Throbo. Farnworth going to be in a dummy half here. Cobbo plays it to find Nicarima. There's 2 more tackles left here. A big shift is what you would expect on this play, and they are going that way. No, Donahue will just find Ray Stone underneath. So 1 more to go here. They'll have another set, the Dolphins, for the rest of this first half. Unless they score here, then they might not need it. Bostock does get an offload away. Donahue, wild flick pass that way to Isako. Absolutely brilliant pass technique to find the hammer. He gets it now to find Katoa. Can't put boot to ball. Nicarima with it. They've got numbers there if they go through the hands. Lemuelu just passes it wildly forward and across his touchline. That's very, very undeserving of the rest of that play because that was brilliant. That was brilliant. Daniel says the only people who complain about the new rule are Bulldogs fans. That's certainly not true. I'm complaining about it, and I'm a Sydney Roosters supporter. But it's also not, it's not a new rule yet. It's going to be trialed. So, Lily says, do you think NRL should be stricter on players who talk back to refs and officials, or should we leave it up to whether the refs think it's bad enough for a penalty? I'm happy with the way it is now. I don't think we have a particular dissent problem in the game. You look at other sports, you'd often think soccer as being the main example, and it's incredible. The extent to which players will just crowd around the referee, not just the captain, but every other player. She's still there for the Dragons, after every decision. And it blows my mind that that is an accepted culture. You know, when I talk about a ref-bashing culture in our game, I'm viewing our game in isolation. But really, compared to a lot of other sports, we treat refs brilliantly. So, yeah, I don't think it's particularly something we need to crack down on, to be honest.
Well, that's why you get the big bucks, baby.
Here we go.
That's why you get the big bucks.
Tried to give it, but I guess this will do. Bosnia-Herzegovina emoji. Bosnia-Herzegovina emoji. Bosnia-Herzegovina emoji.
You love to hear it. You love to hear it. Flanagan puts a little chip over the top. It's on the 4th, but the clock was winding down. It's going to sit up in the in goal. He was trying to get an error somehow. Ham up will be forced across the touch and goal line. And to be honest, I think that the Dragons will take that half. Dolphins probably had the better of the momentum. And they're going to go into the sheds only 6 points down. Very much still in this one, especially if they can come out in the second half and get the first try. Very, very interesting. Very interesting first half. It's sort of a bit tough to know what to make of that. That is an interesting one. That is an interesting one. Now, I have a little bit of a present for you guys. This will particularly appeal to the regular viewers of the channel. Those of you who are watching the stream at the end of yesterday will remember that when we called my dad after the game, as we tend to do with Roosters games, he was 10 minutes behind because he had paused the coverage while he was talking to me at halftime and then just press play. So that was very, very funny to me. But what it meant was he hadn't caught up by the end. So he did say, you know, call during this stream. And so I'm going to do that. I haven't really set it up with him beforehand. But I'll show you. You won't be very happy with me showing this. It's not the most flattering angle. But this was how he went to bed yesterday. That's how he went to bed yesterday. In his Roosters jersey. Double chins and triple chins everywhere. And look, that's coming from, you know, that's coming from someone who has had a number of chins in the past. But we'll get to hear his thoughts. We'll get to hear his thoughts. Hello. You instructed me yesterday to call you during today's stream to get your full-time thoughts on that Roosters game. Here we are.
Yeah, they've changed very little. I've obviously spoken about it a lot and walked into the office with a sense of triumph. I don't know why I didn't do anything. I still can't process this, Dylan. It's an insane number.
Yep.
Right, and when you look at how quickly we scored tries, it's out of the spectrum. And I can just pretty much repeat what I said yesterday, where, okay, your team scores, you cheer. They score more, you cheer more. You go more and more and more and more. But this went off the electromagnetic spectrum.
I think you're the first ever person to give rugby league analysis that involves the electromagnetic spectrum.
Oh, never underestimate the electromagnetic spectrum. It's one of my favourites, actually. I like a lot of different spectrums, but electromagnetic, that one's hard to beat. So, okay, but of course the knockers, the negative people are saying, oh, you're peaking too early and, oh, you know, big deal, the Cowboys were crap or whatever. it doesn't mean we're obviously not going to play like that, for our remaining however many games we've got. But it's shaken all the cobwebs out. It's shown, it's like we've had a big stretch and like, okay, let's up the ante. It's funny the focus has been on how do the Cowboys react, which it generally is after a team's been flogged. I'm fascinated to see how we react. What do we do? And tough game coming up, which I believe you'll be at.
Yes.
How do we react to that? What do we do next? Is it another really good performance or what? I think it will be. I think, okay, we're on a roll now. Whether we win the comp or we don't win the comp, I don't know, who can say, right? But I think this is where it starts. And the timing is impeccable. 6 games left, that's where you want to start your run. Okay, bold prediction. You want to hear it? I haven't given you a bold prediction for a while.
You haven't.
Right?
We're overdue.
We are overdue. We are overdue. Grand final, Cronulla versus East.
Okay.
They're the form teams. You heard it here first. I wouldn't be surprised to see Penrith get knocked off in the semi-final, which of course they'll have to play. I hope it's by Cronulla, and Cronulla give their all to it. But I'm still trying to process this because that number's insane. It's a crazy number, particularly considering we went 20 minutes without scoring.
Yep. Yeah, there comes a point where, like, how different is our reaction to if we had scored 70 or 74 or 78? It can't be that different. And that's 2 converted tries.
Oddly enough, I think that there's clearly a massive difference between 60 or 70 to 80. Teams get to 60. Teams get to 70. You don't get to 80, not since 1935. Let me tell you, there was no salary cap back in 1935. There was a residential rule, though, that you had to live in the area that you played for. But of course, we got all the good players because where would you want to live but eastern suburbs? It's still waiting to sink in what it was, but really good, wrapped. Pity I stuffed up the ending like that, and I was watching it 4 minutes late.
It was very funny, though. Very amusing.
Was it? Brian, Brian,
yes,
who got offered a contract with the Roosters, he texts me with 80 exclamation mark, and I replied, no, we'll get to 70, but not 80. All right? But obviously he was saying, my God, I can't believe it. We've hit 80. So we're in there. We're in this up to our eyeballs now. It's going to be such a good weekend because regardless of what happens this weekend, this is the weekend that the Roosters scored 80.
Yep.
That's what it will be forevermore. Now, I'm not saying it's a, where were you when JFK got shot sort of moment, but you will never forget this, Dylan. Your granddad, who you talked about the other day, was 1 the last time this happened.
It's pretty amazing.
So that's pretty amazing. So anyway, yes, still yet to sink in, but I'm going to watch the whole thing again.
I'm sure you will.
For fun.
I'm sure you will.
For fun. All right, enjoy the rest of your call, and I'll see you next week.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. See ya.
Bye-bye.
All right, that was a lot. There was a lot that happened throughout that. I want to say thank you to user the Leaguie's biggest fan. I mean, that's a brilliant username. Love that username. Very much approve of that as a username. For the bits you cheated, sorry I couldn't shout that out, but I tried to. Anyway, other thing is, so yeah, I did the Pepsi Max sip. Now, the French Charlie Geimer, righto. So, your messages were getting blocked earlier. I can't believe this hasn't come up in 2 years of streaming on Twitch, but apparently Twitch blocks out the word hooker, which feels like a bad thing for a rugby league streamer. So I have just gone and updated the settings so that it will now permit the word hooker, which is now that message worked. But yeah, can't believe we've never really flagged that in the past. Anyway, Dolphins get this done 13+. I would, I don't know if I think that that's likely. I think I'd give that about a 50-50 chance of happening. I do think they go on and win it. maybe towards the back end of the game, especially, you know, let's say that the Dragons are a couple of tries down. That's where you could see them become 3 or 4 tries down with not much left to play for at the end, but we'll see. We'll see. Did League Swear says, when he can play for, listed Lipoi Hopoi as eligible for Japan. Someone commented, Hopoi is Japanese in his pants, and I think about that regularly. So, there's a bit to unpack there. There is a bit to unpack there. And I do use the word pack as in, you know, packing, as in package, in a very literal sense. Do they know? Do they know? Is it a fact-based analysis? Is it an estimate? Is it a general comment? You got to weigh these things up, and I'm honestly not sure. Honestly not sure. Lily says, how are we going to beat the salary cap breaching allegations when the last time a team scored 80 plus, my grandma wasn't even born yet? Lily, real talk, it's just not going to happen. We are not going to beat the salary cap beating allegations, because for as long as I have been a Roosters fan, there have been talks of us being over the salary cap. It's just the way that it is. You just kind of have to accept it. I used to really, you know what, it's probably my first foray into, like, being an opinionated person in rugby league circles and just, like, arguing my way through everything and, like, properly getting down in the nitty gritty. It was probably the main thing I used to argue about in Instagram comment sections and stuff like that. I would call it a mistake. I enjoyed doing it, but I would maybe take it a bit far and, like, actually give a breakdown and be like, okay, well, the Roosters in this season lost Aiden Guerra, Sean Kenny-Dowell, James Maloney, Michael Jennings, Roger Fastajek, Sonny Williams, whatever, and we added these guys. And look at, okay, these are the players who debuted at the club. They're going to be at the club on unders. All these things, right? Whereas people don't think about it that seriously. It's just, oh, Roosters cap. That's it. Yes, Jacob, Hughes is ruled out. Correct. We learned that earlier, and it does really, I think, flip the scales there. In fact, it flips the scales so much for me. If I have tipped if I've tipped Storm, I am changing my tip. I'm going to go just make sure with that, because I'm part of a couple of tipping competitions, and I want to make sure I'm on the Dogs. Yes, I did tip Dogs anyway. Did I? Yes. I remember giving it some thought. I was like, you know, Melbourne, yeah, it could be a thing, but I just get the feeling, and my God, the SFS will be packed out next week. That'll be so good. Did you see that Eels player getting banned because he was in a gang doing bad stuff? No. Did this come out today? Is that Xavier Karisk? I recognize the name. I couldn't tell you who Xavier Karisk plays for. Yeah. Oh, Cowboys. The shot will not cook. The shot will not cook. The shot and the toe were not a good combination, and I know that the toe's been moved to 9, but Hayden Watson. Actual talk here, right? How many of you in the chat knew who Hayden Watson was before Tuesday? If you did, I will fully, like, absolutely acknowledge you as a knower of ball, but I don't think many of you did. If I didn't, I don't think many of you did. Respectfully. If you're a Storm fan, that changes things, but yeah. Mohamed Alameddine? Wait, really? Okay. I don't know what he did, so this reaction is completely exterior to all of that. But the Alameddine crime family is a really big crime family in Sydney. And I remember seeing the name Alameddine in the Parramatta players page, and I was like, damn, that's a name. I wonder if it's the same Alameddine. Probably not. Maybe.
Shikoe 420 just redeemed Pepsi Max Sip.
There we go. That's hilarious if true. I'm looking it up. if it's acceptable to put on screen, I will. He stood down amid the Sydney Gangland War. What? Sorry. What? I'm sorry. Chico, I'm not sure what you mean. You're reading the Pepsi Max, but I did it. Although it's not Pepsi Max, but I don't have Pepsi Max. Wow. Yeah, so he's been... he's missed 2 months of footy after being stood down by the club over safety concerns in the midst of a deadly Sydney Gangland war. So, yeah, it is the Alamein crime family. They're in the midst of a war with the so-called Coconut Cartel over control of Sydney's drug trade. The Herald reported a drone was used to spy on gangland rival during a junior match in April, which prompted the meeting between members of New South Wales Police Anti-Gang Raptor Squad and the NSWRL. Damn. So, 9 does not suggest the talented winger is himself involved in the conflict and is not accused of any wrongdoing. Alamein is contracted to remain at Parramatta until the end of next season. He's yet to make his first grade debut. Yeah, wow. So, as they run out onto the field again, interesting. I mean, it's tragic for him in his career. If he hasn't done anything wrong, that he does need to be stood down for that reason. But it's funny because it was just a passing thought that I had when I first saw his name months and months ago. So, interesting. Dan says, give us your thoughts on the Alamein family. I don't know enough about them. I just know that they are a crime family. Oh no, not the Touchman. Not the Touchman. Touchman's out. Toby Couchman won't be coming back. Unfortunately. Interesting. Grace Hayden asking the Curia question. You don't typically see that, but that's good stuff. Do you not know who the Coconut Cartel is? I do not. I don't know much about Sydney's underworld gangland stuff, to be honest. Not a clue. As evidenced by the fact that I have heard of the Alamein crime family, but know nothing about them. So, Ollie says, when PNG come in, where do you think they're going to finish on the ladder in the first season? They still need to assemble more of a squad. Their squad so far seems to be top heavy, which is fine. It's an okay approach. I'll let you know when they kick off on my screen, by the way, if you need to resync. Bang, there we go. For now, I would tip them to be top half of bottom 9. I reckon there is absolutely something to be said for gelling combinations, and it's going to be an entire team full of new combinations. I know Dolphins came in and massively exceeded that expectation. They did have Wayne Bennett as coach, and I think that they're the exception, not the rule. But anyway. Do you know who the Mongrel Mob is? No. I mean, probably a big part of it is that I didn't grow up in Sydney. Although I couldn't tell you much about the Dutch underworld crime either. But it's just not... Like, I have lived a pretty privileged upbringing. I've never had any encounters or known anyone who has had any encounters, or probably known anyone who's known anyone who has had any encounters with that world. So, yeah. All right, Sloan with a run there. Tackle gets it to Damien Cook. Now, Valentine Holmes up over the 40 there. Tackled on the 3rd. Beautiful shot of the moon in the background. Setting there in orange. Unless it was a light, in which case I feel like a right Pollock. But anyway. Gula up over the halfway line. The man who littered in Canberra Centre, and I will never forgive him for it. Do you know who Vincent O'Dempsey is? Nope. If you said Vincent O'Dempsey was a character from Red Dead Redemption 2, I would believe you with no hesitation whatsoever. Take that from Jermaine Asako. Do you think Bears will be too good next year for their first season back? No, absolutely not. They are my tip for the spoon. Yes, like there's still time for them to recruit, but there's just not star players for them to recruit, frankly. And I know that there's a lot of people who have faith in the likes of Toby Sexton. His Catalan Dragons haven't gone very well this year. You're then looking at guys like Tyron Wishart, Mikolaj Oledzki, who's okay, but coming from the Super League, you never really know how that's going to go. Nick Meaney, is he the player that he once was? These are guys who will need to play out of their skin, and I have little faith in Mr. Meninga as a week in, week out coach. Error there from the Finns. Error there from the Finns. And I'm curious as to how long this is going to go on for in this game. I'm curious as to how long the Dragons are going to be in and around it. Because, again, this may seem like a harsh criticism. And it's easy to, say when my team won by 70 points yesterday. But I'm holding the Dragons at this point. Sorry, I'm holding the Dolphins at this point to the standard of a premiership contender. And if we're getting, another 20 minutes from now, heading to the last 20 minutes of the game, and the Dragons are still in this, going with them within a try, it doesn't rule them out of anything, but it's not where they should be. That pass has gone forward, but it's because... In fact, I don't know if it went forward. I'm not sure, actually. It might have bounced forward, but the penalty has gone the Dragons' way. What did Gutho just dodge? Yeah, it was... Okay, pass was definitely forward, but tackle without the ball will overrule that. Who will captain the team at this stage? I'd say Junior Bolo. Absolutely Junior Bolo. Junior Barlow. That's who's going to captain it. Is Canberra home game on Saturday? Canberra don't have a home game this week, I think. Well, not in Canberra anyway. I think the Penrith Raiders game is in Mudgee as a Panthers home game. Take that from Emery Gula.
Well, that's why you get the big bucks, baby. That's why you get the big bucks.
Yeah, okay, I'm not letting that read out. Oh, it's not going to read out because it was just 5 bits anyway. Thank you for the 5 bits. But, yeah. Also, maybe lightened up on the eggplant stuff. Don't know how I feel about that, but Bosnia's fine. Short ball knocked up by Josh Kerr. He's had a couple of moments that had liked back. There was a penalty he gave away earlier on when Dolphins were coming out of their own end there, and he gives away an error in attack, unfortunately. That Doggy Superfan says top 8 predictions at this stage. I don't have the draws of each team in front of me. I need to sit down and look at it. But I think the top 2 will remain as is. I think Sharks could sneak into 3rd, although I hope they don't. Cowboys have an easy enough end to the season. I think they will stick with it and make it. Seagulls, I don't really rate as much of a chance. Raiders, I think, unfortunately, have too hard a draw from here on out. Dogs are the side who could maybe make a run. It's still going to be tricky. It's still going to be very tricky for them. But if injuries can impact Souths and Newcastle the way that really they should, those are 2 sides who could drop out a little bit. Each only have 1 more loss than the Bulldogs do. And that's where you could see Bulldogs making a push into the top 8. So we'll see. We'll see. But game tonight is an important one for them to win. Not actually sure completely what happened there. I was looking at the ladder, but it is Dolphins ball. It was a little bit of a kerfuffle that took place. Dolphins ball on the first here. Saw Mitri, Lisati, Munster, Grant, Howard, Hughes, Kamakamita, Seve, Coates, Wilbrick, Katoa. It's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. Yeah, really. Not a surprise they are where they are at the moment, given that. Kuli Cafe Fuyaki nearly got to the end goal there. Plays it about a metre out Plath. Gives it to find Kurt Donahue. Now Katoa. Short ball after a little double pump to find Cody Nikarima, but Nikarima is tackled there. Goal from Max Plath. He won't quite get to the line, but there's still 1 tackle left here. Who's going to get into dummy half? It's going to be Nikarima. Sprays it out wide to find Donahue. Now in the hands of Katoa. Pass, and it's been intercepted, and Holmes, carrying the ball in one hand, is going to try and go the distance. He gets away from the first one. Has Cobo around him. Passes wildly out to find Setu 2. Is it going to be called forward? It is. I don't know about that. I don't know why he tried the old boop. That's a brain snap. But jeez. Jeez. The take from Holmes, I mean, he didn't have the legs. He got away from one. He could have just taken the tackle. In hindsight, he would have liked to do that. Oh, no, in fact, he didn't do that. I don't know why I thought he did. I'm going to be honest. I don't think that went forward out of the hands. I don't think that's the correct call. I agree with Lorenzo. It bounced forward. I don't think that went forward out of the hands. You can understand... I mean, yeah, classic me making excuses for the rest, right? You can understand why a call like that would be made, because the touchies and the referee are downfield, right? So they're watching it from behind. So when you see that ball pass and bounce forward, you have to think chances are it was passed forward. That's a really unfortunate one, and a giveaway penalty there. But I don't know. I don't know about that one. Doggy Superfan says we're not making top 4. Yeah, no, you're not making top 4. I disagree with Jacob there, saying if Bulldogs win their last 6 games in a row, they might make top 4. Well, no, that might be a fact, but no, I don't think Doggies are going to win their last 6 games in a row. So, yeah. If all these Tigers players keep fighting with Benji and refusing to play, Ichi, Galvin, and Dewey, then shouldn't we be questioning what Benji and the coaching staff are doing? Yeah, and I think we are. I think we definitely are. Was Galvin a case of not fighting and refusing to play? Tigers fan will be able to fill me in on that. I don't remember that specifically. I remember him being dropped, but I don't know if it was him refusing to play. But it's balanced out by how much the boys love him. You look at the likes of Terrell May, who has openly said that he has loyalty to Benji. Which is not what you want to hear as a Tigers fan. You want to hear him say, I have loyalty to the club. But, you know, he's honest, and he will be honest. So it's, yeah, possibly cancelled out by how much they love him there. So Dolphins on the attack here after St George Illawarra got an unlucky break, quite literally, with a line break earlier on. Short ball there, Finafuyaki. Why'd he get there? He won't, but it's going to be ruled a penalty for the Dolphins. Temptation to take the 2. I don't know if I'd be doing it, but an 8-point lead. In fact, I would be doing it. Absolutely, I'd be doing it. Absolutely, I would. Tiger says, I think Galvin was dropped because of the media focus that whole week. Yeah, that was my memory of it. Katoa has it. Ball in hand. And they are just going to tap and go here. No thought of taking the 2. Run there from Tommy Gilbert. Played there. Platt is at the dummy half. Gets to find Kurt Donahue. Goes himself. He's, it looks a bit bigger than I've known him to be, Kurt Donahue. But there's a bit of space out that side. They do go that way. Finafuyaki hitting the line again hard. Is tackled there by Kerr and Stewart. Plath. Now to find Donahue. Back for Katoa. Deep into the line. Gets to Dikarima. Beautiful quick hands. Cobo is isolated in the corner. And he's lost the ball. I don't know how he hasn't got there. He went low, hard, and didn't use the space that was available to him. You'd think a more experienced winger would just beeline for that corner. You look, I think Dallin Wateni-Selesiak is brilliant at this. When he gets the ball in space on those edges, you see him on the replays. He just looks at the corner. He's not looking at the players coming across. They don't matter. He doesn't need to be second-guessing himself. He looks straight at that corner, runs diagonally towards it, and grounds it in that corner. And that's exactly what Samuel Cobo didn't do there. Cobo instead thought, I'm going to try and use my physicality to get to the line. And it ended up with him losing the ball. That was not a good percentage play from Samuel Cobo. A try's gone begging there for the Dolphins. It has, unfortunately. Great defense by Dragons. Sure, you know, the sliding defense was there to stop him. But I do think that really Cobo made it decently easy for him. In plays, you know, leading up to that, though, absolutely, I'll give you that. Yeah, did League swear? I definitely don't believe that. I definitely don't believe Josh Kerr named his first son Wayne. It would be an elite tier, well, S-post. S-post. Speaking of, we are probably going to have swearing on this stream. Not from me, but I've got a mate who was a Doggies fan, and I said earlier today, can I call you at halftime of that game? So I will be doing that. And we'll see. I think positive or negative, lead or not, he's going to be going off. So, yeah. Leg, how much would you make if I watch all your vids and shorts? Honestly, Ricky, not enough to justify you spending all that time on it. It would be... If you watched every single one of my videos and every single one of my shorts, I might earn about between 10 to 50 cents. YouTube doesn't pay very well for small creators. It's all right. And I earn a lot more per view than most YouTubers do. Way more per view. Because Australians are valuable to advertise to. But, yeah. It's why, like, when I do finally set up channel memberships, my God, I'm so overdue on that. Really, it's because of the ref crisis. If not, I would have absolutely had it set up by now. They're going to score here, surely. Herbie hits it up. Doesn't trust his outside man. They're letting tries go begging here. Yeah, it's why... The people who are like, yeah, I'll pay $1 or $2, $5 a month. That is a game changer. Because up to that point, I've probably earned about $1, $2, or $5 in the entire viewer lifetime that they've had on my channel. So, yeah. Yeah. Leaguie, I just remembered I have a first cousin once removed who was half Dutch, half Samoan. His name is Case. Hope this helps. Well, yep, that's a very Dutch name, Case. Absolutely. Penalty there, relieving. We saw the Dragons give one away in a very similar fashion in the first half. Instead, this goes the other way. And I asked the question at the start of this first half. Sorry, at the start of the second half. How long, how deep into this game are we going to go where the Dragons are in it? Where the Dragons are within one try? And yes, I think Dolphins have been on top. And frankly, should have got a try either through Cobbo or Farnworth there. The Cobbo opportunity was more of an opportunity blown. But, so they knock on there badly there. Egan. And Donahue gets into him. He's frustrated with himself, Egan. We're now 13 minutes into this second half, and we're still there. We're still there. I said if we get to 20 minutes, you start asking questions. We're 13 of those 20 minutes through, so yeah. Dolphins go through the motions here. There's a bit of that. There's a bit of them being casual about it and maybe expecting a win, and that's, you can't be doing that. 6 more there, Dolphins. We'll say I'm expecting that they score. If not here, then very, very soon. They've been knocking on the door, and surely they get over. Safification says, why Australia is valuable? High purchasing power. Simply put, advertisers want to advertise to Australian purchasers because Australian purchasers are more able to pay money. In fact, sorry, it's not to Dragons, it's to Dolphins. More able to pay money to those advertisers through buying products. Donahue now to find Katoa. To find Farnworth. Offload. Nice to find Donahue. This is still the first here. Gilbert straightens. Falls on Bosnia and Herzegovina. Fan of Bosnia, not so much Herzegovina. Plath finds Donahue. On to find Katoa. In the hands of Nicarima. It's a numbers game there. And Cobbo won't be denied that time. Simple physicality. Close to the line. 3-on-3. In that situation, you get it out to your barnstorming winger. 1-on-1 with his opposite number. And that one was like shelling peas. It really was. I said, I'm going to give myself some credit here. I said, I expect the Dolphins to score here. If not here, then very, very soon. They'll be knocking on the door. And there it is. Unfortunately, Noah of ball knowledge. We know this to be a fact. Lorenzo says, I thought they tried to ban Australia from YouTube. No. They tried to ban it for under 16s, but that was a government thing, not a YouTube thing. So, Dean says, would you grow your hair all the way out so you could give it to charity? I've had very long hair in the past. I always mention this, but how much would my hair be worth? Would be the relevant question. I don't know anything about that. I know I've had in high school there were some people who did it. I wasn't allowed to do it. I think I was too young, from memory? Question mark. Or no, my hair was simply not going to be long enough when they came around and collected, which I thought was really stupid, right? It was these people from a Dutch charity. They came around to all the different schools, and you could go and have a free haircut, and they would take your hair, right? But they didn't give us any advance notice, so they just showed up, and it was like, whoever happens to have hair that's long enough, I guess you could go. But if like 2 months before they'd be like, hey, we're going to come on this day. If you want to do this, grow out your hair. Would it be way better? Isako, he strikes them as well as anyone else, and he strikes that one beautifully. They lead by 12, 24 to go. And that's a commanding lead. That's a commanding lead. We'll see. If the Dragons have any hope of coming back into this, they need to score next. Simple as that. Simple as that. Toby says, I'm eating ravioli right now. That sounds brilliant. That sounds absolutely banging. I just love the thought of that. I love everything about that. Ravioli's bang. What flavor of ravioli have you got? Ravioli is just... oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Always confusing me with all this Watson talk. Well, you're going to get it throughout the next game. Although I might say Hayden Watson rather than just Watson. I don't know. I know I've tried to address this in the past, but in the moment, I'm not conscious about things like that. Who have you tipped? Panthers or Raiders? Raiders. No. So that is not true. I was like, I reading that out, I was like, I tip Panthers. Say Panthers. And then I go, Raiders. It was Panthers. I tip Panthers. Isako there with a run on the third tackle. Plath has played big minutes here at dummy half. I don't typically take notice of how many minutes he normally plays for the Dolphins, but I feel like it's been a while since I called the name Jeremy Marshall-King. I wonder if there could be something more to that situation. Big hit there, Setu 2 on Nicarima, his future teammate. kick there from the Dolphins. It wasn't the best set of points there. Sloan recovers it and gets it up to about 30 meters out. High contact there potentially. It was around the collar, but it's ruled to not be forceful. Excuse me. Tiger says, Leaguie, if I streamed when you didn't, would you watch? That is almost certainly no. Almost certainly no. But the reason is because when I am not streaming a game, which I imagine is what you're going to be streaming, it is only because I have something else that I have to be at. So if I was in a position to watch a stream when a game was on, I would just stream the game, pretty much. Who scored the first try? Hamaso Tabawai Fido of the Dolphins. And who scored the last try? Salman Kobo of the Dolphins. Sully with it. Tackled there by Farnworth. Unfortunately, Lily, Bosnia and Herzegovina are not in the Rugby League World Cup. And frankly, I don't know if there's a Rugby League Federation in Bosnia and Herzegovina. You can look that up at International Rugby League website. On their website, you can see all the nations that have federations. Sam has given some stats there. Nothing as good as last night. Roosters have the NRL record for most points in any NRL game ever. Because, the two other teams did get it before the NRL era. Correct. Talk about the Roosters being the best team ever and will it all this year? We'll see. I still don't tip us for the premiership, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, Plath now. Is this unusual? Dolphins are currently winning? Definitely not. They were heavy favorites to win this game. Very heavy favorites to win this game. So, Plath gets fired Izzy Katoa, who kicks from inside the 40. And I can confirm, I'm very, very happy to report that thing that I did call the moon earlier and I thought might have actually been a floodlight does seem to indeed be the moon. So I'm happy about that. Very happy about that. Regina, Thomas Flegler did not score, unfortunately. Ray Stone did, but Thomas Flegler did not. Hit up there for the Dragons. So it's the number 18. Who is their number 18? It's not Alan Gahu, it's number 17. What? I'm confused. They have a number 18. Oh, it's Sully. I'm looking at the bench and I'm like, who? I don't think they had an 18 on the bench. That's because it's Sully. It's because it's Sully. Flanagan, deep into the line, gets it to Gutherson. Not Flanagan. This is going to be the last. Little is screaming for a set restart. They don't get it. They're going the short side here. It's not great. Holmes kicks it. They're appealing for a knock on. I don't know if it's played at. Okay, no, it is. It is played at. It's going to be Dragons ball. Because of an accidental offside. Okay. So, Dragons get a chance here. 20 minutes to go in this game. They've got a full set coming. 10 meters out. What more could you want in terms of attacking field position? It's not a must-score situation by any means. We're a long way away from that. But, frankly, chances aren't going to come much better than this. This is where you want to get straight back into the game and not allow the clock to become a massive factor come the back end. Flanagan, short ball there. Why didn't they just give it to Robert Toyer? I mean, that worked yesterday, so... Ollie says, Waz and Roosters grand final and Waz win, what would you do? Have a wry smile and then be really, really sad. But, like, I think long-term, I'd learn to live with it, certainly. It'd be so good for the game of rugby league. Flanagan, I'd need to fight Egan. I'd obviously be going for Roosters massively, but, like, there'd be a wry smile there. There'd be a tiny part of me that's like, I'm very happy for them. I would be. Tackle there is Carl Flanagan. I would feel like in a Waz Roosters grand final that I would be supporting the forces of evil. That I will say. That just, there's no reason why a neutral would go for my team. But anyway. Little. It's fine. King Tonga puts it through. It's been intercepted there. Any talk of a knock on? No, it's going to be ruled play on completely. And Dolphins, they've stood up to that one there. They've stood up to it very, very well. Have you been to KO Stadium before? No, the only stadium I've been to in Queensland is Suncorp and Totally Workwear Stadium, which is the Brisbane Tigers' home ground. No others. No others. I'm going to give you guys some chair content for just a second. I need to refill my bottle in case we get any more Pepsi Max redemptions. I bet there's going to be one when I'm gone. Back in a sec. I was in the kitchen pouring more tea into my bottle, and I'm like, if they just score a try while I'm gone, that feels like the kind of thing that would happen, doesn't it? That does feel like the kind of thing that would happen. And I'm watching this for the first time. It's on the replay. King Tonga, oh, what a ball. What a ball. Sloan just takes him on down the touchline at support inside. Bang, easy as you like. And they did well to get it to find Gutherson. Came well and truly on.
There is a Bosnian national RL team. Bosnia-Herzegovina emoji. Bosnia-Herzegovina emoji. Bosnia-Herzegovina emoji.
Well, I've got a new second favorite international team then in that case. Beautiful. Beautiful. They'll convert this one, you would think. It's not the hardest of kicks and be trailing only by 6 points. I said if they have any hope of winning this game, they had to score next. They do score next. And we now are once again at a point in this game where there is 16 minutes left. And the Dragons are in it. They are in it. Hey, Leaguie, someone just redeemed a thing.
Pandamelically just redeemed changed the background color.
Whoa,
Let's get rid of yellow for Macedonian emoji. Macedonian emoji.
Whoa. Hang on. Whoa. Wait. I'm sorry you guys had to hear that. I'm really sorry you guys had to hear that. I want to apologize on behalf of Pandemically, who's clearly just misread the room here. Because to deliver hate speech like that, I mean, I'll change the background color, but hate speech like Macedonia emoji, that's not on. That really isn't on, and I'm sorry, I'm a little bit rattled by that. You shouldn't have to hear that. Can we please have someone redeem something with the Bosnia emoji? I think that we need to sort of cleanse our palates a little bit in that department. I'm considering a permanent ban. I think that's a permanent ban. Honestly, not on. I imagine Pandemically just like absolute, like the soul left the body kind of areas. Hearing that, being like, what have I done? I can't do red and yellow. It just never looks red enough. That's just yellow. It's either just yellow or just red. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do it like that. You can kind of see a bit of yellow at the top. I think that's the best way. So rude. So rude. Anyway, Dragons. Nice little short ball there to find Goulet on the halfway line. So that's the last. What countries are not acceptable? Pretty much every country except Bosnia and Herzegovina. Alright. Cobbo takes a tackle there. 15 and a half minutes to go. 6-point ball game. I'd love the Dragons to score next. Imagine. Dragons score next. Convert 22-all. Val Holmes field goal to win it. Oh. Cinema. Cinema. Absolute cinema. What was he even going to say? It was just North Macedonia emoji again and again. You can't have that. Can't have that. I want to be clear. I was joking. It's fine. Nothing bad. I'm just getting all around the Bosnia and Herzegovina meme that's been born in this stream. Which I think perfectly epitomizes everything that I love about these streams. Because we're going to leave it not thinking about this game, not even thinking about the next game. We're going to leave it thinking, yes, Bosnia and Herzegovina. And frankly, that's all I want to deliver. So I love it. Okay, good. I'm glad Pandemically's laughing. That's good. That's the one that matters. Was that a French accent? Initially, then it turned to British halfway through. I don't know why. I just kind of, I ball like that. I don't care. I'm a bit of a maverick, bit of a rebel. It's kind of what I do. I don't take orders from anyone, except I quite literally do. But anyway, that's fine. That's fine. Can Roosters beat Bulldogs round 23? Is a Bear Catholic? Does the Pope defecate in the woods? The answer is a yes to both of those questions. And the answer is also yes to Roosters beating Bulldogs in round 23. Absolutely. Good catch there from Cobbo. Granted, no pressure on him. You would expect it to take it, but it was still solid. And he didn't do the thing that Roosters wingers keep doing recently, which is get the ball and yeet across to find James Tedesco. Just give a few more seconds for the defensive line to chase up and make Tedesco have to run off the back foot. I don't know why they do it, but anyway, they do it. They do it. NRI Head says, I think the Dogs will want it more. I'm sure they will. I don't think that's going to mean that they beat the Roosters, though. They can beat the Roosters. But the question was, can the Roosters beat the Bulldogs? Yes. We won by 70 points yesterday, mate. Come on. All right. But we'll see. I'm going to be there, and I can't wait for it. All right. Kick there from Katoa. 13 minutes to go. They've got the ball at the right end of the field from a Dolphins perspective. Good catch from Gutherson. That was under a little bit of pressure, so he's done decently there. Interesting little one there. Flanagan wanted to get a penalty. No grace given by the debutant referee, whose name is something Irons. Kieran Irons. That's the one. That's the one. All right, Little. On there to find Egan. Pandemically says, personally, my dog loves to eat chicken, not bulldog, though. So by that logical conclusion, your dog loves to eat chicken. Oh, wait, no, never mind. It supports it. Damn it. I talked myself into a hole there. I better not do that on Wednesday. I was going to say, comparing it to cowboy. No, wait, no, it does work. Yes, it does work. Because your dog doesn't eat cowboy, but we beat the Cowboys. Never mind. I did the old Uno reversal on myself. Definitely better not do that in the debate. Anyway. Well, enter ahead if you are at Dogs and Roosters. I'll be there. I'll let you know where I am, and I'll come say hi. I'll let the Discord know. Did you know the national animal of Scotland is a unicorn? I did, and that makes me so incredibly proud to have Scottish ancestry, because, wow, that's brilliant. That is brilliant. Over the halfway line there, through Lembuelu are the Dolphins. Less than 12 minutes left in this one. Marshall King is out there, back on the field. Plath with it. On there to find Katoa. The hammer now. 3-on-2 situation. Draws and passes. Good defensive read, though, from Valentine Holmes. To get basically 2 for the price of 1 on that play. Katoa puts it up in the air. It's going to be Gutho underneath it once again. Goes up for it. Comes down with it. And that one was a bit of a clash of bodies between him and the hammer, but it's the old wily King Gutho who comes away with it. Good stuff. Leaguie eligible for Scotland confirmed? Yes, I think I would be. My grandmother was from Aberdeen. I think I could play for Scotland. However, I'd be playing for Mauritius. Absolutely, we know this. Beautiful pass on there to find Valentine Holmes. He's in space. He's got support back behind him. It's been knocked back there by Katoa. It's play on. It's play on. He picks it up and goes. Picks it up and goes. What a play from Isaiah Katoa. Now to find Fidel Fumiaki. He's in a bit of space. He's got Couchman along with him. Tackled there by Pacific Tonga. That was beautiful from Katoa. He's intercepted and knocked it back. Stayed on the ground. Was willing to take the tackle. It was ruled play on. He picks up and goes. That could be a moment that changes this game. What a play from the 7. Coming in, his first game back for a long, long while, but the captain of the club comes up with a potentially game-saving play there, to be honest, with 10 on the clock. Love it. All right. Play there. Nikorima gets it to find Plath. On to find Morgan Knowles. Tackled there about 5 meters away from the try line on the floor. 2 tackles left here. They're set in the middle of the field. They go to the right-hand side there. Flagler, easy. Too easy. Ball has sprayed out, but it was grounded. It's going to go up no try. This surprises me. I thought he grounded it quite comfortably, to be honest. Okay, so the referee does say it was grounded, but grounded short. I saw it grounded. I didn't see where it was grounded, I will admit. Let's see. That's a great call. That's a great call. It looks short of the line at that stage. It does look short of the line. No, it's not. It's on the line. It's on the line. That's on the line. That part of the ball is on the line. Yeah, that's a try. Yeah. Good call. Good call. Went upstairs, no try. Ruled a try. Good stuff. And you just know if the bugger hadn't been there in that situation, that shot of the referee being right there looking at it, you would have, had a few choice words. But Tommy Flegler, when Isaiah Katoa came up with that play to knock the ball back and then intercept and go a fair way downfield, I said it could save the game. And given that it's led to that game-winning try, essentially, for the Dolphins, pretty good work. Oh, they're not happy about that, though. I've just rewound here. So, Isaka will... to be honest, I'm just going to put it on the board because Isaka's going to get that kick. I want to see... They showed a replay of the knockback from Katoa. I struggle to think how he didn't knock it back. But anyway, the crowd certainly booed when that replay showed, so I'm curious to see exactly what it was. That's clearly knocked backwards. Mendoza, thank you for subscribing on YouTube. Much appreciated. There's not a chance that's been knocked forwards. Not a chance that's been knocked forwards. That is absolutely the right call. Yeah, they're going to shot one more time. Okay, perfect example here. I'm going to say in this debate, our game is too complicated. There is no world in which you will have an instance where everyone agrees with every call that's made. There's an example. That was backwards. That was so clearly backwards. His hand was on the ball and pushed it backwards. And you just had a crowd there booing at that call. That was so clearly backwards, bro. So, yeah, anyway, you can't please everyone, can you? Can't please everyone. Dragons are actually being competitive recently. They are, and they have the ball back here. I mean, I didn't really bother commentating it because I was making a profound point, of course, about the state of media and coverage. But if there's any hope of a last gasp comeback, it needs to come right now. Because that try to Flegler, unfortunately, I think has won the game. So, all right. They're spreading it to the right-hand side now. Flanagan gets it to find Sully. St George Dragons fan says that's not a try, the Flegler one. Why do you think it was not a try? King Tongia puts a kick behind us, being chased through there, and Bostock will ground it in the in goal. Has he? No, he's trying to make his way out. We'll be tackling goal anyway. Magnetic says, I'm touch judging tomorrow. Very cool stuff. You have touch judged before, right? We've spoken about this. I remember. How have you found it? If the Dragons logo is based on the dragon from the Welsh flag, does that mean I can call the Dragons the Dragons? The Welsh Dragon's name? Well, is it? Is it based on the Welsh Dragon? I'm not sure. If Netherlands won both World Cups, what would you do? Rugby League World Cup included. I would have an infinitely bigger reaction to them winning the Rugby League World Cup than the Soccer World Cup. Soccer World Cup, I would have been like, yay! Hell yeah! We got it done. Nice. History made. Super happy about that. Let's go. And I would have, brought it up when it happened to come up in conversation. Netherlands winning the Rugby League World Cup. I'd run. I'd have to run. I would just have to run. I'd have to go run. I'd run out of Canberra. But by the time I'm out of Canberra, I'd get to the border of the ACT. And I figured that since I've come that far, probably might as well go all the way to Sydney. And once I got to Sydney, I thought, well, since I'd come that far, might as well go up to the border of New South Wales and Queensland. And once I got that far, I think, well, I've come all this way. Might as well head up to Brisbane. Penalty there, Dragons. They trail by 12, so there won't be any talk of a 2 situation there. I hope someone got that reference, by the way. It's a very, very famous movie scene that I'm referencing. Regina, Thomas Flegler did score. Yes, you asked that earlier, and he hadn't scored, but he has now. So, would you rather Oz win the Soccer World Cup in 2030 or have the Dutch win the Rugby League World Cup this year? Dutch win the Rugby League World Cup this year by order of magnitude. Order of magnitude. Is that a Forrest Gump reference? Yes, WTF got it. I know it primarily because I used that clip in my video that's coming out on Monday, and I hope it doesn't get copyright claimed. But it's... I won't say what the joke is, but it's a really funny joke. Anyway, 6 minutes to go in this one. Dragons, knock it on, Halangahu. After I hyped you up earlier, brother, you've... Nah, that's it. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. Was that Tommy Eisenhuth? That was Tommy Eisenhuth in the box up there. Everyone goes on about how bad the Dragons are. The Finns have conceded 50 plus more than them. And the Chooks are the only ones to actually score 50 plus on them. Well, to be honest, I think it was that 11 losses in a row. Yeah, it was 11 losses in a row to start the season. That was when people were giving them criticism. I don't know many people that have been too critical of them in the last couple months. I actually think a lot of people have had admiration for them. So it kind of, that's how that's played out. Did you hear a fake siren just now? I didn't, personally. No. Isn't this the part where Dolphins start slamming tries? I did say towards the back end of this game, if you're going to see that happen, it'll be now. But yeah. Bosnia and Herzegovina, ranked 47th, should host the return of the Emerging Nations World Cup. I will not research the political ramifications of this. That's the way to do it. Absolutely right. Good evening, Madsen. How you going? Would you rather Roosters win 5 in a row or Netherlands win the Rugby League World Cup and Oz lose every game? Netherlands win the Rugby League World Cup. Not an easy decision. I'd love to see my Roosters win 5 in a row. But, yeah, Netherlands... What you'd have to understand is everything around the Netherlands winning the Rugby League World Cup. What that would do for the sport over there. What that would do for the sport in other places. The investment that would come as a result of it would fundamentally change the game forever. That's what I'm talking about. Dolphins there have knocked it on surely somewhere there. Yep, knock on. They're going to challenge this on here. They have the option to, but I don't think this is one that they're going to win. Hey, Leaguie, someone just redeemed it. Here we go.
Chico, we 420 just redeemed. Change the background color. South's having the hardest 6 makes me sad, but make the color white and dark.
It's a little tricky. I mean, I can't make it dark. I can turn it off. If I make it just like this, I mean, that doesn't look like anything. So I'm gonna make it look like this. I think that's the best I can do. My God, it is gonna be Dolphins ball. I was very confident they weren't gonna win that. Okay, yeah, mutual infringement. Nice, successful challenge. I like that for the Finns. Game is over anyway. Really doesn't matter. It's just 12 points. It could have had a miracle, but anyway, challenge successful. Challenge successful. I love that. So Lily has said the Bosnia emoji, right? But my chat thing isn't able to show emojis, so it just shows the code for it, which is BA. So what Lily has just sent is ba 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 ba, which, fun fact, is a real line from the game Grand Theft Auto 5. True story. True story. Alright. Played there by Max Plath. Gets to find Jeremy Marshall King. Knowles. At the back to find Katoa. Short ball there. Well read, and the ball does come free. Holmes with it. We'll hit it up. Technically still not impossible that they can get 2 tries here very late, but really, I'm not going to fool you. I'm not going to BS you. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen, and this we know to be a fact, unfortunately. So it's what it is. Really good effort tonight by Dragons, though. Yes. And that's worth something, because like they've got nothing to play for, right? So it's worth something coming to next season that these players... Oh, it's Kerr is through. The former Dolphin has a bit of support, doesn't find it, unfortunately. It's worth something that going to next season they can be like, we were a worse team and we competed. Now we've got all these recruits, we should be all right. That is a rough tackle there for the Dragons to take. Talk of Plath being offside at the marker there. They're going to score, though. They're going to score through Couchman. They're going to score. This ain't over. This ain't over.
We are the St. George boys. We've had a game today.
Look, you gotta be honest. It's not over. It's not over. I cannot remember what I was saying. Before that. I had a train of thought, and that train has left the station. It is gone, brother. It is not around anymore. A draw could go to Golden Point. Could go to Golden Point. He surely kicks this, Valentine Holmes. It is not a difficult kick. Not a difficult kick for Val. He hits it. Oh, it curved. It curved. It actually really curved. 6-point ball game, 2 minutes left. Miracles can happen here. And really, again, this is what I was saying. It's worth something for next season. The Dragons have been competing, but losses are losses. Thing is, there's a sign of a good team. I say this a lot when you win by playing badly. I don't know if the Dolphins have played especially badly today. And they are probably going to get the win, but like, again, is this too harsh, right? It might be too harsh. And definitely part of it is coming because of the criticism that my own club has faced in recent weeks, being held to the standard of a premiership contender. But as a premiership contender, here you are. 2 minutes left. You're winning 28-22 against the Dragons. Really? You reckon Penrith would be in this position? You reckon Roosters would be in this position? I don't know. Although we were against Knights and we were against Storm, so yeah, I think it could be a bit harsh. Could be just convenient me saying that after we were won by 70 yesterday. In fairness. All right, here we go. This is the set that matters. Could be their last set that they get. Run there from Jacob Alangahu. He came up with an error earlier in attack, but that's a decent enough run from him there. Little to find Couchman. Good run from him, Rauchman. Will the Shark or Cogger play better this week? I think Cogger will. I rate Cogger. Not that I don't rate the Shark, but I just don't think the extra Hayden Watson, he'll get a chance to do too much. So they have left it until the fourth to fire a shot here. Little through the middle, and he didn't have any support going with him. So they're 40 out, and they're going to have to try something here. No penalties or set restarts given away. They had to shift it on the fourth, really, or at least go with Little. The kick isn't great. It has dropped. They've got it back here. Spray it out wide. Spray it out wide. There's room out there. It's knocked back there by Halangahu. He still has it here. We'll find Gutherson knocked backwards wildly. Has that been touched by the Dolphins? Has that been touched? It's still the last. What a huge call. Sloan gets it out to find Sully. He's got Farnworth near him. Doesn't want to find Setu too. Back in field. That was dumb. What the hell has he done there? He can... I think Jake Juice got this right. He can only have thought that it was a set restart. And we are going to get a challenge here. And this could determine... and will actually determine the outcome of this game. I will say it could just be me seeing what I wanted to see, but I thought Dolphins hit that. Or is there a call of offside before we even get to that point? I think there is. I'm not sure what we're looking at here. King Tonga is within 10. What? Look at Hamish Stewart. So we're looking at a couple of plays. You wouldn't think this is going to go well for the Dragons, unfortunately. Yeah, Stewart is offside. Try Dolphins? No. Not right now. We're looking at a captain's challenge. Yeah, it's going to be a penalty Dolphins. So, well, that's interesting. Challenge for a team because it's a prior breach. It was a successful challenge, but not successful for them, unfortunately. Not what they wanted out of it. I will say, if they had scored a try there with the ball like frazzing around the field, and it had that, like, you would have had the celebrations and it had then been taken off for that, would have been a very empty feeling. I kind of don't mind that it didn't get to that point, but damn, they've got away with one here, the Dolphins. They have. You look at that moment, that Isaiah Katoa moment, it was a complete swing of points because they went down the other end of the field and scored through Flegler. Sloan had space. He was giving it inside to find Clint Gutherson, who would have probably... I'd want to see the replay again, but you'd back him to have been able to manufacture points out of it. That's a captain's knock. That is a captain's knock. Can Dragons still win? Nah, there's 23 seconds to go. They're halfway through this set. Katoa gets it to Farmworth, and they're just hitting it up. They're just hitting it up. EB, you absolutely cannot spoil that movie. No. I will permanently ban you. And I like you, but I will permanently ban you from anything League related if you spoil that movie. Nicarima on to find Molo. Oh, I don't know why they tried that. I don't know why they tried that. It was knocked on, unfortunately, by Holmes. If Holmes had taken that, could he have gone the length? No call of full time, and there it is. He left the 10 seconds for Dragons to challenge. And that's that. That's all she wrote. As the crowd finds its way out of Wynn Stadium, it's another really tough loss, unfortunately, for the St George Illawarra Dragons. And I want to highlight this. We've got 8 minutes before the start of this game. We will get into the teams that have been named, but you look at the way that they've gone recently, and it's unfortunate for them. Yeah, since round 16, really, 2-point loss up in Newcastle. A game that they were very much in, 8 points in Canberra. They beat the Tigers. Only an 8-point loss to the Warriors, and really, from memory, that one they were in up to their eyeballs. Well, yeah, 3 tries to 2. Penalty goal in the 78th minute really put it beyond. Yeah, a big loss last week, but then that one as well, right in it. So these are close games. These are close games, and I'm not making excuses for losses, but these are the kinds of things that you can really sort of cling on to. As I mentioned, going into next season, it's a bit of an identity that you can build around, and when you can then supplement that with the number of talented guys that they have coming in over the top, it's something. And the Dragons haven't had something for a very long while. So I know that, Dragons fans are going to be upset. I think they'll be proud still, but yeah, tough one to take. Tough one to take. Wayne says talk footy. Oh, no, sorry, the Dragons not a footy club? My bad. I was under the impression I was talking footy. I was also under the impression that I could talk about whatever I wanted to talk about. So, thanks for the feedback, though. Anyway, let's get into the teams for this next game, shall we? Between the Stormsters and the Bulldogs. I'm just setting up the display for the next game. Good, it is set to go. Let's have a look at what we have, ladies and gentlemen. So, big news in the team changes. Obviously, Cameron Moss has been out for some time, but his partner in crime, Jerome Hughes, had come back in recent weeks for the Storm. Oh, thank you, WTF. I'll let that read out. Oh, this is going to be crazy.
I said B, B, O, O, S, S, N, N, I, A, 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 N, N, D, D, H, H, E, E, R, R, Z, Z, E, E, G, G, O, O, B, B.
It just gave up. It had enough at that point. Actually, I'm going to end the stream on YouTube. I forgot about that before we get into the team for the next game. So on YouTube, sit tight. It will automatically redirect you to the next stream. We'll be back in a second. We'll get into the teams. See you in a moment. Okay, stream's over on YouTube. I need to go start that